Imagine yourself in a crowded room where everyone is speaking, but no one is truly listening. You watch faces pass like headlines. You'd hear stories that never land. Someone asks how you're doing, but their eyes are already moving past your answer. Now, imagine in that same room, a single person turns towards you with their whole attention. They aren't rushing to reply. They're noticing your tone. They say your name with warmth. They smile like the moment matters. Suddenly, your shoulders drop. Your breath deepens. You begin to share the real story, not the edited version. In that instant, you realize something simple and rare. You feel important, seen, and safe. If you could become that person for others, how different would your life feel? How many doors would open? How many conflicts would soften? How many friendships would become deeper? How many opportunities would find you, not because you shouted, but because you listened? This is not a trick. It's a way of being. And if you've ever felt invisible, misunderstood, or lonely in a room full of people, I want to show you how to change that. Not by changing who you are, but by changing how you meet the people in front of you. This message is inspired by a book that has quietly rewired human interactions for nearly a century. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's not about manipulation. It's not about being fake. It's a manual for becoming the kind of person people naturally lean toward. The kind that turns tension into trust, small talk into real talk, and first impressions into enduring respect. Carnegie was a teacher who watched ordinary people discover extraordinary results when they stopped trying to impress and started trying to understand. He taught that human nature hasn't changed much. Our need to feel valued, our longing to be heard, our instinct to defend our ego, these currents run beneath every conversation you will ever have. This book takes those currents seriously, then shows you how to navigate them with humility, tact, and courage. If you stay with me, you'll leave with something better than tips. You'll leave with a new posture. You'll learn how to disagree without making an enemy, how to apologize without losing your dignity, how to make requests that people want to fulfill, how to speak so others feel seen, and how to listen so others feel safe. And most of all, you'll learn how to carry yourself like someone who believes people matter, because they do. And when they feel that from you, everything changes. Let's begin by addressing the fear that often blocks all of this. The worry that if you don't push, you won't be heard. If you don't correct, others will stay wrong. If you don't defend, you'll be walked over. Many of us armor up before conversations like we're heading into battle. But what if the goal isn't victory? What if it's connection? There's a world of difference between proving you're right and making things right. The first feeds your ego for an hour. The second feeds your relationships for years. When you meet someone's ego with your own, you create friction. When you meet their ego with respect, you create space. Respect doesn't mean you agree. It means you remember there's a person in front of you who wants, as you do, to feel competent, valued, and safe. Start there and your words will begin to land. So how do we change our posture in real life, where people interrupt, criticize, and test our patience? Start with your mindset. People respond to how you make them feel about themselves. If you forget anything else, remember this. In practice, that means you avoid the reflex to criticize, condemn, or complain. Do those feelings arise? Of course. But criticism enters like a hammer. It may fix a nail, yet it dents the wood. Think of the last time someone criticized you directly. Did you change or did you defend? Most of us defend. So instead of attacking the person, Address the situation. Replace "you always" or "you never" with specifics. Replace blame with curiosity. Ask yourself before you speak, is this about me proving I'm right or about us solving the problem? And ask the other person a question that shows good faith. How are you seeing this? What matters most to you here? What would make this feel fair? Notice how those questions lower the temperature. There is a second posture, equally powerful, the practice of honest and sincere appreciation. Not flattery, appreciation. Flattery wants something. Appreciation sees something. Think of someone in your life who quietly shoulders more than they say. The coworker who documents everything so nothing falls through the cracks. The sibling who remembers birthdays. The friend who texts you after the hard meeting. When you notice the effort behind the outcome and say it out loud, you plant trust. Be specific. Say the person's name. Describe the action and the value. For example, Maria, I noticed you stayed late to reconcile those numbers. You saved us from an embarrassing mistake. Thank you. That lays differently than good job. Why? It shows you were paying attention. It shows you care about the person, not just the result. Ask yourself, whose contribution do I take for granted? What would it look like to name it today? Let's talk about desire. Every human being runs on a kind of psychological fuel, the eager want. People move when their own reasons move them. If you want cooperation, connect your request to the other person's goals, values, or identity. That means you learn what they care about. You ask, you listen, you remember. You talk in terms of their interests, not yours. This isn't manipulation, it's empathy in action. Imagine asking a colleague to adopt a new process. If you lead with your convenience, you'll meet resistance. If you lead with their priorities, saving time, reducing rework, earning recognition, you unlock energy. Try this shift. Instead of saying, I need this, say, here's how this helps you. Instead of, because I said so, say, because it aligns with what you want. You're not trading your integrity. You're trading language that centers you for language that includes them. Consider a current request you need to make. How can you tie it to what the other person already wants?
The culture around you matters too. Many of us live in environments that worship outcomes and humiliate beginners. Waitzkin chose depth over spectacle. He left chess's bright lights for smaller rooms where learning spoke louder than reputation. That choice has a moral flavor. When you practice presence, you treat others differently. You listen with your whole face. You notice the way a colleague's voice thins when they are tired, the way a friend keeps rearranging a coffee cup when they are uneasy. The work changes you from the inside out, and the people around you can feel it. So how does this translate to your life? Start small enough that success is almost guaranteed. 5 minutes of quiet each morning to feel your breath and widen your attention. A daily review of one mistake from the previous day. What signal did you miss? What tension made you rigid? Which circle can you make smaller? Choose one micro skill and live inside it for weeks. If you are a coder, maybe it is naming functions so clearly that future you whispers thanks. If you are a teacher, maybe it is the silence you hold after a question so students can discover their own answers. If you are an athlete, maybe it is the feel of your foot striking the ground in alignment. Then build your trigger. A cup of tea whose steam fogs your glasses, a single song in your headphones, the scent of citrus from a slice you squeeze before you begin. Pair it with breath. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6, and a widening of your gaze. Use it before hard conversations, workouts, and creative sprints. You are teaching your nervous system what go time feels like. On days when the zone does not arrive, trust the numbers you have built. Do the work anyway. Consistency is its own quiet magic. Keep returning to the edge where mistakes happen. Treat the moment you get it wrong as the doorway, not the end. Map the trigger that pulled you off center. Adjust a single variable and test again. Celebrate small, specific improvements, smoother transitions, cleaner timing, less wasted motion. Let wins pass through you like sunlight, warming, then gone, so you can return to practice without clinging. In time, your sense of time changes. Under pressure, seconds stretch. You hear more, feel more. You can choose instead of react. That is what preparation buys, the ability to be fully awake when others flinch. The chessboard quiets, the mat steadies. The room's noise becomes part of the music. You stand there, not braced against the world, but collaborating with it. Here is what I want you to remember when the next test comes, on a stage, in a meeting, or at a kitchen table with hard news. Mastery begins when you make peace with being a beginner again and again. You let mistakes carve new channels for insight. You shrink your focus until the small becomes profound. You build rituals that welcome the zone, but never depend on it. You cycle stress and recovery like breath. You choose depth over appearance and service over spectacle. From the outside, your performance looks effortless. From the inside, it feels grounded, honest, and quietly strong. If this spoke to you, pick one action today. Name the smallest circle you will honor this week and choose a simple trigger to enter your soft zone. Try it once, then tomorrow, try again. If you want more guides drawn from books that change how we train, think, and live, subscribe. Share this with a friend who needs encouragement, and tell me in the comments what craft you are working on. Let us invest in our losses and turn daily pressure into a forge for quiet strength.